A French philosopher once said, "My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which have never happened." Last May, Kyle and I went and spent a week in Habash, Mexico. It was a dream. There weren't any red lights, no cars, and most people didn't wear shoes. We laid on the beach, had stuff delivered to us, food and drinks. We watched the kids playing soccer. We watched the sun go down over the most beautiful water. And I would lay there during the day reading a book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. I felt like a hypocrite, to say the least. I was about 4 weeks away from launching the blueprint model for the very first time. I was going over and over and over in my mind, what are all the things I need to finish? What if nobody buys it? What if this sucks? All these what ifs, what ifs, what ifs. Worry. Worry about things that could or could not even happen. How often do you sit and worry about an outcome, not even knowing what the outcome is? I once heard a pastor say that most of women's worries come down to two things: comparison and perfectionism. But what's really interesting reading this book by Dale Carnegie is that he gave you some really practical steps for overcoming worry. So I wanted to discuss 3 of those with you today. So first, how to overcome worry. Step number 1 is to realize, what is the worst thing that can happen in this situation, and what would I do about it? Oftentimes we just worry about outcomes without even knowing if that outcome is going to happen. So the best next step that you could take is to say, what is the worst thing that can happen here? Gosh, I've done this so much in the process of building a house this year. We'll get there and the paint color will be wrong, or the shingles were put in the wrong way, and I'll just, dramatic. Have the worst meltdown. But if I just stop for a second and say, okay, what is the worst thing that can happen in this situation? It really helps me think through my next steps. If this were to happen, what would be my action step then? It's an if-then scenario. If this happens, then this. Oftentimes we worry because we hate the unknown. We just naturally, as human beings, don't like the unknown. So maybe think through the next time you're worrying, what is the worst thing that could happen in this situation? And if that were to happen, what would I do? I promise you, just having a plan of attack is going to make that worry seem so much less worrisome. Tip number 2, live in day-tight compartments. What does that mean, day-tight compartments? This is directly from Dale Carnegie's book, and I'm going to read you a little section. It says, one of the most tragic things I know about human nature is that all of us tend to put off living. We are all dreaming of some magical rose garden over the horizon instead of enjoying the roses that are blooming outside our windows today. Living in day-tight compartments means that we don't worry about things in the past and we don't worry about things in the future. All we focus on is what we can control today. As business owners, this is so true. We can learn lessons the hard way and oftentimes dwell on things that happened in the past. Or we can think and worry about things in the future. What if nobody ever books me again? Ever. What if I never sell anything ever again? What if nobody likes that? What if those people hate me? So many what ifs, so many things to worry about as business owners and in life. So one of the greatest tips from this book, and he shares some really great stories of his clients that have done this, is just to live in today. Figure out how we can just focus on what we can control and do our very best today only. So that doesn't mean that you don't need to be a planner and think about the future. It's great to make future plans, but we don't let those plans cause us anxiety. We don't get stuck in the what ifs, but instead we live in today's airtight compartment only. We only focus on things that we can control today. And as long as you do that and focus on how can I do my best today, my very, very best, and let go of the past and not worry about the future, we will start enjoying our todays. Tip number 3 for overcoming worry is one of my favorites. Go have some fun. In Dale Carnegie's book, he says, one kind of emotion drives out the other. Have you ever just been stuck in your head, just worrying, all the what ifs, all these things, worry, 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 and then you go do something? Go for a run, have a call with a friend, any other kind of activity. It's funny because oftentimes we forget what we were worried about at all, or it at least gives us some relief in our mind for a short period of time. One emotion drives out the other. So the next time you find yourself just worrying, go do something else. Go for a walk, go for a run, anything that will distract you from what you're worried about. And I promise you during that time, you'll be able to process through those fears and anxieties. So tip number 3, just go have some fun. Let's not let worry steal any more of our todays. Will you do that with me? Take these three tips and let's start controlling the emotion of worry. Because the truth is, we can control our emotions a lot more than we think.